Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Big Red and More podcast. I'm T-Bird, and with me, of course, is Sean.
I can't see.
Hey, what's happening?
Looking retarded as always. Thank you for that, Sean.
What's that? What's that?
Nothing. But anyways, Jaden's out tonight. He's got some family business going on. So instead, we are welcoming in two legends from Husker Twitter. We got Carolina Husker Tom. What's up?
What's up, guys? Good morning. Good afternoon.
And then we also got Husker Tedward. What's up, Ted?
What up, guys? How's it going?
Good. So I just figured we kind of jump right in on our off-season thoughts on how everything's been going. So we have had a bit of a hiatus since recruiting. I think recruiting is the last one we done. Kind of touched up on that a little bit, and then kind of did some NFL stuff. So figure we'll jump back into Husker off-season thoughts so far. Sean, you want to start us off?
No, I don't really have anything. They haven't really done nothing other than winter conditioning.
But what are your thoughts on, I guess, more or less how you project the season going? What are you excited about for the spring game coming up? What are you looking forward to in spring practice?
I'm still all in on Matt Rule. I think what people don't talk about enough is that he came in and he said he's doing what he said he was going to do, right? He's going to take the first year, he's going to observe, he's going to make changes, he's going to adjust, right? Well, he went and got a quarterbacks coach. He's moving. It sounds like he's moving. I don't think it's official yet, but it sounds like he's moving Satterfield over to tight ends.
Yep.
As the coach there. But I think the big move is the three firings, and I don't know who they've hired in that place, but they fired three guys off of player personnel. Mm-hmm. There's something there that he didn't like that was going on, that he got rid of those guys. And, that's behind the scenes shit, but that's telling, I think. He's doing what he said he's doing. He's like, okay, here's where I feel like our issue was. So he got rid of that, whatever he's bringing in. I love what he's doing as far as that goes.
Tom, Ted, either one of you guys want to piggyback off of that?
Well, like he said, this is a different regime from the Scott Frost era. He was too buddy and afraid to make changes when he need to. He said, Rule. I didn't get to see how he started at the beginning, unfortunately. But from now, I've done my research on him. The three people he fired, Omar Hales, he got rid of him. He hired a player that was just with the program, so he knows the culture that he's trying to implement. Philip Simpson, I think, was another one. I don't think he fired him, though. I think he got a job offer from Florida State. He took his dream job that he wanted. But he was good for us, and then two other guys. But people don't realize how much you need those people in that position to win. People don't realize a front office is what you also need behind the scenes, the people that are taking care of the kids while they're not on the field. So if you have a good culture with that, it's a lot better. People don't realize that. Glenn Thomas was a surprise hire. I think he was already in Matt Rule's crosshairs. People want to get Dana Holgerson, which would be a great analyst role because he's a quarterback guru and he has high.
Is that still in play, you think?
He could
at
be.
All?
He could be. He's probably just taking his time. It might be after the spring game, maybe. But if it doesn't happen,
do you guys take any stock into? Do you take any stock into Brian Ferentz being on campus?
Oh fuck! I knew you were gonna fucking bring that up.
No, I mean, seriously though, as an analyst role, I don't know if that hurts anything.
It can't hurt. There's analysts; they just observe and give feedback. They're not coaching; they're just watching film and giving their feedback to coaches.
I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say
he's not a great OC.
I mean, he's a great lineman coach, though. I mean, he puts a guy
tight ends coach.
I'm not going to say that I have inside information or anything like that, because don't take it like that. I just know people who are closely connected to the program. The reason why I'm taking stock in Brian Ferentz being on coach isn't necessarily that I think he's going to be in some sort of analyst position. I don't even know if he's going to be on staff next season. What I think Rule brought him in to do was to kind of look at the look at the way that the run game is established. Look at the way that the run game was set up. Look at the way that our coaching on the offensive line looks, and see if there's different key places that we can make changes.
Like little
Because
tweaks.
I think that Donnie, take stock in whatever you want, whether or not you think that his number one recruiter on staff or whatever, or him being number 8 in the country, take stock in everything you want there. I think it's extremely telling that the year and a half that he was under Frost, our offensive line looked like dog shit.
Yeah.
As soon as Rule, who was an offensive line coach, a very offensive-minded coach, comes in, lets Donnie have free reign over the line, and all of a sudden you have Bryce Benhart committing 0 penalties?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Night and day
was
difference.
washed.
I noticed that.
He was the Farniak.
Exactly.
He's your biggest improvement for sure.
When,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think
saw-
that the offensive line can only go up from here, and I don't think that I would like to see Brian Ferentz on campus as an analyst, because I think that he would be damn good at it. Not to mention he'd be a steal for the money, because I mean he's got 11 guys in the NFL right now that he coached. I would just like to see where it goes.
Well,
Because
and he's an experienced Big Ten coach
exactly.
too. Like, you know, like I said, as an O, he's not coming on as an OC or anything like that. Like, the dude has knowledge. He's been in the game enough.
I mean, if you take Brian Ferentz and you take Dana Holgerson, those are 2 Power 5 coaches as analysts.
Mhm.
Those are guys who know big time programs, big time games, know how stuff works. You're not
Rule
getting
playing chess.
you're not getting a dude from Buffalo or Ohio. You're getting dudes from Power 5 programs that have coached under major coaches, and been head coaches.
Look at what Saban did at Alabama. I mean, he's, all of his analysts are head coach guys, or OCs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting guys that are big time coaches, like rebooting their careers for him. And I don't see why this would be any different. Like, that's what he's kind of doing.
They coached 1 or 2 years and boom, they had their own program. Loxley, Tommy Reese is going to have a head program. Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin, Muschamp, who is it?
Lanning.
Literally, wasn't Les Miles? No, Les Miles was one of them. Then he coached with him.
I don't know if him and Les Miles ever coached together, but I mean, the 2 biggest names that came out of his repertoire were Kirby and Lanning.
Oh,
well, is Bill still there?
What's his name?
Bill O'Brien.
No, he left.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien. Yeah,
he is
gone.
Not there. He
No,
took the Boston College job.
Kirby
Yeah,
Smart.
he took the Boston College job.
That's right.
But Bill
That's
O'Brien,
right.
I mean, he's been around the block several times.
Kirby Smart. He was under him.
Yeah, I mean, you had Lane, you had Sarkisian, you had, back when nobody wanted those guys, they got ran out of town at USC. They go to the rehab program at Alabama, and now look at them.
Facts. And then boom.
But no, I mean, the idea, right? The initial idea, the shock of somebody saying Brian Ferentz to Nebraska, you're like, oh, yuck. But I do agree with what you guys said. In an analyst role and strictly just sitting back, observing, show us where we could tweak a little something here and there, I think could work. But there's going to be massive shock value to the fan base of that.
Let me pull up. I got some texts from a couple buddies of mine that are, like I said, I'm not an insider. Don't take it like that. I don't know anybody in the program. I graduated from there. So
well, let's be real. Everybody that's a Nebraska fan is an insider. We all know
that's
a guy.
That's true. I said exactly. We were talking about it, and I go, the shock from Husker fans. What was the exact word that I said? Damn it. I'm trying to find it. It was funny as hell. Oh, I said, I'm assuming that Rule operates under the pretense that he's like most Nebraska fans and saying, oh, he Ferentz, me no like unga bunga. But I think he'd be a phenomenal hire for Donnie. And then we just kind of kept going. And he said, somebody posted that Callahan had said something on one of the message boards. And he goes, I think you might be right. He goes, of course I'm right. Pay attention to what happens over the next couple weeks.
Sean Callahan, usually when he reports on something, he's 98% accurate. Like
He's pretty good.
Like
Yeah.
Callahan doesn't usually put his foot in his mouth. Like when I listen to Callahan, like he's really, or Steve Sipple, those two do their research. They're not one of those hot tips. Husker, here, let me get the feed real quick. These guys do their research.
Well, they'll hold on a story too to make sure it's accurate rather than just
they're
being
not
first.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like about listening to those guys is that you like what you just said. They don't just throw it out there like, oh, here's clickbait. They're
Mitch Sherman.
The stories are good. Yeah.
Like
so what?
That's why I respect
maybe
it's all. I take it with a grain of salt. It's weighted with me.
Explain to me what the Bill Belichick thing's all about. I don't understand why he's coming here. Like, is he talking at a seminar?
Just
is
a camp?
Is that for our coaches or?
So Belichick and Matt Rule are really good friends. I don't know where the connection was. I think it was because Rule, after he left Penn State, I don't know if Belichick I guess not recruited him, but drafted him. I actually don't even know if Matt Rule went drafted.
No, I think it's a coaching. It's a coaching tie.
It's a coaching thing. But he and Belichick are friends because apparently, I don't know if you guys read about this before Rule even got hired. Apparently, Trev met with Belichick.
And it was Ted Carter and Belichick are good buddies too. And Belichick had talked to Ted Carter and said Rule would be great for you guys. And also, when Rule went to Carolina, the first guy he called was Belichick on tips about adapting to the NFL, things like that. But Ted Carter was the big Nebraska connection with us, with Belichick and us getting Rule.
So what's he coming here to do?
It's a
he's speaking at a coach's clinic.
Yeah,
it's a coaching clinic though, right?
Yep.
But is that for like high school coaches and stuff coming in, and he's just talking at something like that, or is?
I think that it isn't. It's not like open to the public, but I think that it's like Power 5 coaches, lower level coaches, pretty much anything.
Okay.
It's still powerful though. It shows that Rule has connections. Like people don't realize how it is. Like he came back his first year and recruited the crap out of Texas, like instantly. Boom.
Yep.
Went taking high profile targets, and then was getting kids in the Northeast because of his Temple days, like in Philadelphia, New Jersey.
Is he going to be able to get kids drafted?
Exactly. Well, probably not this year, but next year, yes. We don't have. Luke Reimer would be our best bet to get drafted.
Because I think that's the thing that's really held us back over the years, even under Bo Pelini and stuff. We weren't putting a ton of dudes into the NFL, and that's what I think what kills recruiting is you're just not getting the numbers in there. So you're not. That's something that's hard to pitch. Is like, hey, I'll get you into the NFL, and that's where I think the recruiting has taken a turn for the worse.
I'm trying to remember the exact numbers because I'm trying to find them right now, but I think Rule has something like 21 players that has gotten drafted over his 7 years that he was a head coach before coming to Nebraska.
I think that's pretty close. Yeah.
And I think that, 26 is what it was. From what I can tell, the majority of it is, and this is funny because Nebraska fans have been beating our chest about this for years. The majority of it looks like running backs and offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Which our offensive linemen were decent this year, and our running back room was. I watched all the games. I went back and watched all the games. Our running back room, it wasn't that great.
So let me just tail off on this for just a quick second before I forget about it. Since we didn't really get your guys' thoughts initially, what were your guys' biggest takeaways from this year's recruiting class, and basically how you seen the class as a whole, besides obviously Dylan, but kind of the rest of it? Did we fill needs that we needed to? Did you like what we did? How we went about doing it? And then who do you guys think might be a couple of sleepers?
I'll let Tedward go first. You want to go?
I'm gonna pull up our recruiting class. Give me a second.
Yeah, I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that.
No, you're good.
Let you pull up a class first.
I mean, obviously, Dylan Raiola, what can you say about him? The only thing that worries me, and I don't want to say it worries me, is starting a freshman, putting all that pressure on him, and then on top of that, no, I want the 2024 class. Why are you pulling up 2023? I like the fact that we committed or that we went after a ton of offensive linemen, and then I'm looking at the recruiting class, and we got like 11 corners and secondary players, and a lot of them are listed as athletes, but like Roger Gradney, Ja'Cory Barney, both of them, while they do play both wide receiver and secondary, I think it's very interesting that we're recruiting speed. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it in the 2023 class with Jalen Lloyd and Jaden Doss. Both of them they fly around the field. And I think that if Rule wants to find an offensive identity, then he needs to recruit a specific type of player. And I think that the one thing that I've looked back throughout his recruiting classes at Baylor and throughout his recruiting classes at Temple is that he recruits a lot of athletes and then turns them into football players.
Yeah.
Like, if we can have guys in our secondary, like, just for example, I know that a ton of people really, really like Quentin, and I liked Quentin his freshman year. But these last, like, 2 or 3 years, he's gotten burned a lot. And so does Hartzog. And that's not a knock against them because, I mean, obviously I haven't fucking played football since I was 19 years old. But we need more people who are able to keep up with Big Ten wide receivers because right now we don't have that. And I think that it's very telling that Rule is going after guys that are like that, regardless if they're listed as defensive backs or not.
I think it shows that you're going to be able to leave those guys out on an island more often with man coverage and not necessarily scheme and zone all the time in the back half.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
like Kamir Prescott, Amari Sanders.
Yeah, I was about to say Kamir. That rated as a walk-on, high 3-star that had Power 5 offers, committed to a Power 5 school, walks onto our program. And we watched his film. He kills people. He headhunts, and he's quick, and he's a walk-on. That's the volume like that Rule is doing. That's the way he talks. And then
I think you're going to start
have scholarships basically.
Go ahead,
I was having a conversation with a couple guys. And like I've been pretty negative about walk-ons and stuff like that over the last few years because I don't think it works right now. Or I'd say the last 10, 15 years, the walk-on program. It's because you can't get the diamonds in the rough that you used to get under like Osborne and Solich because of Huddle and the films out there and social media and stuff like that. Those diamonds in the rough are going to go to, South Dakota State and things like that. Well, now I think with NIL,
the NIL paying for scholarship.
Now it's like, all right, well, we're not going to offer you a scholarship, but you're still going to get your school paid for, or you're going to get enough money to pay for your school. And so you don't have to go to South Dakota State anymore. Now you can come play at Nebraska and pretty much get your school paid for. And I think that's like talking about that guy that's a high 3-star guy that had D1 offers and shit commits here as a walk-on. That's wild.
See, my dad mentioned that. He's like, when I was telling him stuff about that, he was like, it's basically just what Tom Osborne's doing in a loophole kind of sense. Tom Osborne was giving half scholarships to great players because they were
gray shirts.
Yeah. So we're doing that with NIL. I mean, we didn't get a defensive lineman really this year. We missed on Carlin Jones because he got a bigger NIL deal, even though we found him before he blew up. But we went and got a guy named Jordan Chua, how you say his name? He was a G5 commit to Wyoming. Now he's coming to walk on to us, stuff like that. So that's huge. And you're going to start seeing that more and more.
Well, and if you actually look at NIL, if you want to kind of take a different direction with it, instead of going out and trying to offer people millions of dollars of it, you can divide that millions of dollars up into guys that you can develop.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's been a big key for Rule too. Like going back to Ted's point is looking for give me a guy that's a pure athlete first, and then I can mold him and shape him into whatever position I think would suit him best.
Yeah, because then you actually know what you're getting. Because either way, you have a two-way athlete. But I see what we're trying to do. We want speed and we want big linemen. Yeah, across the board. I do think we're getting better character guys too.
Yeah,
I can see how they hold themselves. They look like they're having fun. They're hanging out with each other. They're all going to events. They're supporting each other. They're more vocal on social media with each other. Scott Frost had a vice grip on stuff. He didn't want his athletes, even though he said he wanted, the kid who had a baseball glove in his car or whatever. He didn't encourage his boys to go play other sports. He wanted them to play other sports before they came to Nebraska, but he didn't want them doing track or baseball or wrestling in the off season, like we're seeing.
Fucking dunk contest at halftime.
Exactly. He has these boys more motivated, more engaged, more ingrained into the actual university themselves. Like they are superstars, but they're showing everybody else that they support everybody else too. Like we're not football school. We're
from the few players that I've gotten a chance to talk to, I will say it seems like a lot of these guys are having more fun. And I think that's good to a certain extent, like just to a certain point. Not like under Riley, I think that the guys just fucked around.
Yeah,
obviously,
too much
fun.
fun.
I wasn't in the program at the time. But it looked to me like they weren't really focusing on football as a whole. But it seems like Rule is getting these guys to enjoy being a part of the community, enjoy being a part of the program, enjoy each other's company. Like, I mean, the whole thing with the dorms last year where they moved into like actual what you see is college dorms, like that just proves that he's taking these steps to develop that and develop relationships between the guys and the coaches, because
unity.
Without that, I think you lose confidence in your coaching staff. And from a player standpoint, from the fact that I played football for 12 years, if your coaches are drill sergeants, you're less likely to listen. If your coaches like to fuck around too much, then you're less likely to listen. But if you have coaches who are willing to take the steps in order to make sure that you are okay mentally as well as physically, then that's somebody that you want to charge into battle with.
Yeah, I mean, that's no different than your day to day. I don't care what profession you're in. You want to know, like, hey, when there's a time to work and there's a time to fuck off. You know what I mean? And we know where the line is, and let's work when it's time to work, and then when we go fuck off, we'll fuck off hard. But when it's time to work, we're gonna work hard.
Did you?
For the most part, I think kids want to be coached hard and kids want to be held accountable. Right. So, but they also want to see. You ask a kid to be accountable, you can't not let another kid be accountable, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so if you have a kid that's not, and I know this happened under Frost with Marquise Washington. He was missing. He wasn't going to meetings. He wasn't doing. He wasn't doing what was expected of him, but still getting to play. Well. Right. How are you going to hold me accountable if you're not holding that guy accountable? And so I think Rule's a little bit more consistent, and I think where you see that at is in the penalties. Last year, by the end of the year, we weren't getting those stupid penalties. We weren't penalized like we were the years before, and that's discipline, and that's holding your players accountable. But that's off. Like if you're disciplined off the field, you're going to be disciplined on the field, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think, and you respect your coaches more when they hold you to that. As long as you have that good relationship, but like when you're being held to a standard and everybody's being held to that standard, I think you build a relationship with your players as a coach. I don't know if that makes, for me, that makes sense.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's any leadership role you're in, right? If you're going to have a team, and you expect that team to follow you, just be like, this is the standard, and this is standard for everybody. And this is where we fall in line and get it done.
Did you see where the interview with DC Tony White on Husker?
Yeah, I just listened to that today. Yep.
He starts off hot. He goes, I'm pissed off. And I was like, okay. So I stopped what I was doing. I literally listened. They were having their third down meetings. I mean, I watched the 60-minute games, whatever recap you use. I didn't think we were that bad on third downs. I mean, he had a top 11 defense?
Yes.
Okay. And this man still wants to be better. And he could potentially be a head coach next year if he really wants to be.
Could have been this year.
Could have been with UCLA. Could have been. Or even maybe
San Diego State.
He could have got a Power 5 job if he wanted to. I really believe that. And this man now has his pieces. He has people who now know his culture, his playbooks, all that. So if he's having meetings and he's fired up just like that, I can't imagine how his players feel right now, how fired up they are knowing they were 3 points, like basically 15 points in 5 games, 2 possessions to being 10-2. We got blown out by Colorado. We got blown out by Michigan. But potentially we could have been 10-2, a playoff team.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And that's with mostly Scott Frost guys. So you think that coaching staff came in and changed their identity, changed their minds, and almost won, even though we had hella injuries and the QB play was subpar. We were 5-7, but 15 points away, 2 possessions from being 10-2. That's crazy. But I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I don't think we're having a winning record this year. I know we beat the drum and say that every year. I think that all changes. There's no way, but all the talent that we have, the same coaching staff minus Glenn Thomas, there's no way we don't win. There's just no way. I don't see it. I don't know about y'all.
I agree. I'm always drinking Kool-Aid, so
I can't wrap my head around it. Like I feel like we could go 7-0, and the last 5 of those games are all toss-ups.
I think that the only game on our schedule this year that's a for sure loss is Ohio State. But even then, I think it's like a 90-10. Like, you're probably going to lose that. You're pretty much going to lose.
Are we going to the shoe?
Yeah.
That's a way.
That's an L. Yeah, okay.
The rest of our schedule, however, I don't think it's like, I'm not going to say it's that difficult because, of course, any given Sunday, right? But, like, I think that the possibility of not only us starting 7-0 going into that stretch of tough games, but like we have UCLA at home this year. We've got, is it USC that we have away?
Yeah, we go to the Coliseum. Yeah.
I don't think that UCLA or USC is going to be all of that great of a team this year, especially if Caleb Williams goes first overall in the draft, which a lot of people are saying he's going to. I don't see a game on that schedule aside from Ohio State that I'm like, yeah, that's a loss. I see 11 other games that I'm like, okay, we have a 50-50 because I think we have all the pieces in place. I think that we've got development from pretty much every position on the field. I think the only thing that left a little bit to be desired was running back, but at the same time, I think that Barthel dealing with all the injuries that he did. I mean, our top 3 running backs got hurt in the first 6 weeks of the season. Yeah. So obviously we're going to get fucked there. Satterfield is a terrible quarterbacks coach. And I mean, even Rule said before the season, he said, my goal is to not have Satterfield be our quarterbacks coach. And of course, everything fell through with Jake Peets, which I thought really sucked because Jake Peets would have been phenomenal.
Fuck yeah.
But I think that there isn't a reason why we can't win 8 to 10 games this year.
That's very reasonable.
And I would put my life savings on saying that we're going to win minimum 8 games.
Oh, let's go to Vegas. Let's go.
Put it on there.
I'm pretty close to where you're at with that 8 to 10. I think a lot of it just depends on the running game, O-line running game, especially early in the season. Like, you got to handle that early so Raiola can get into a rhythm, get some confidence. Because I think if that kid gets confident early, then I feel like that Ohio State game's that's a different ball game. You know, like if that kid comes out and if you have to put like your first 2 or 3 games on him and he fails, then we're looking at a whole different situation. But if we can go out, run the ball, manage the clock, win these first 3 games not handedly, but like not by 3 or not by this, but that kid got confidence. He didn't have too many turnovers, or he doesn't have, and then game by game, that kid will, and then the receivers, like those guys got to get on the same page because we have new receivers coming in with the new quarterback. They got to get on time.
Sure. But I mean, still, you got Malachi coming back. You got Fedoni coming back. You got some, vets that have played coming back. Of course, they're going to have to get with Raiola all through the offseason and get in sync and everything like that. But I think you give that kid two 2 games. Fuck? We got Colorado second game, which we got to beat the fuck out of Colorado. But I wish that was the third game. So you give them 2 games to make teams learn that they can't just stack the box on us anymore.
Yeah,
and then that just opens everything up.
I feel like Raiola wants that Colorado game. Like
yeah.
I'm so happy we don't open up with a Power 5 Big Ten team on the road. We get UTEP.
Oh my God.
And not to knock the UTEP, but we're not losing to UTEP. I don't care what anybody says. We're blowing them out the water. Yeah. They have a Power 5 team since the early 2000s, and that's as far as I stopped going. So, but knowing Nebraska would be our luck that we lose to UTEP, but it's not going to happen. Colorado, they're coming to us. It's a revenge game.
Yeah.
We know we want to beat them. That's one of our biggest games of the year, off rip. I want to see him. Ohio State, we have to beat Ohio State sometime. We have a 9-game losing streak. And then we've never beaten Southern California, and we're going to them. We're 0-4 against them. And then, personally, I want to beat Wisconsin because we won one time, and they've owned us since. So I'm sick of losing to them. It's like Kentucky with Florida. They didn't beat Florida for like 25 years straight until like last year or something, and they finally did it. I don't like being like that. I hate that.
Yeah. Well, all good things must come to an end, right? Or
we should have had it last year. Damn.
Yeah, the Wisconsin games get closer and closer. Like their luck's gonna run out.
But Luke Fickle's a good coach, man. Don't let him.
He is. Oh yeah.
He's a good coach. I don't want to. He's scary. I don't want to play him. He's scary.
So speaking of Raiola, let me piggyback into this one about Raiola being a game-changing player, a program-changing player, right? Sean, I know you have a lot of thoughts on this, on people saying, in order to be a program-changing player, it means he's taking you to the championship and that's it, right?
So I've had conversations with guys, and like I do believe that he is a program-changing quarterback. Now, when I say program-changing quarterback, I'm not talking championships, but you got to look at where your program's at. When Tommy Frazier came in, he was a program-changing quarterback. We were a good program, but he got us to the championships. But that's where your program was at. With Dylan Raiola coming in, what I mean by him being a program-changing is like we're 5-17. We have been for the last how many years? Like he's the guy that I think comes in and brings us into that 10-win season, gets us more into that Iowa, Wisconsin program again. But that's still program changing. And that's like what I mean by that.
If we would have had him last year, those 3 games those 5 lost by 3 points, we win.
Agreed. 100% agree.
Because he would be able to move the ball down the field. He'd be more mobile. I thought Chubba was doing a great job, but if we would have had him, I promise you, we would have at least won 3 out of those 5.
So
we would have beat Maryland. You would have beat Maryland, and you would have beaten Iowa.
I've argued tooth and nail with a lot of people about this because I don't define him as somebody who's program changing. I don't think there's any one player who can be program changing. Trajectory changing, sure, because there's a massive difference between those two. Program changing is somebody who comes in and they are the difference. Period. End of story. They are the difference. Whereas trajectory changing player is somebody who can come in and be a part of something bigger. And I think that Raiola has the skill set to be a part of something bigger. Because, without the targets, he can't throw the ball. Without the offensive line, he's going to get sacked 100% of the time. And that's exactly what happened in Buford when he was there. He got sacked I read something. It was like,
he was on the run. He was on the run
pressured
constantly.
I think he was pressured some 72% of the time, and he got sacked 39 times. It was insane, and it has nothing to do with him.
Okay.
It's not the fact that he can't scramble. It's not the fact that he can't run. I've actually seen his speed. I know that he runs like a 4.5, which is not slow by any means. It's just the fact that without certain pieces in play, you can't be program changing. I think that the players that are coming in, like our entire recruiting class that we have coming in, especially the 2 interior offensive line and Gibson Pyle and Preston Taumua, they're going to be fucking awesome here in a couple of years. Gibson Pyle's already shown that he can throw Division I talent on their ass. he's done it all throughout high school. And I think that our offensive line coaching is only getting better. And I think that with the fact that we kept like 6 of our offensive linemen on the roster, including like 4 starters, I think that we're going to look better up front. And I think that our offensive scheme is going to look super simple this year. We're going to run the ball. We're not going to do very many quarterback runs, I don't think, at least, especially with Glenn Thomas there.
Yeah.
And we're going to throw deep. So, got to have fast receivers, which I think that we do. We've got to have a stout offensive line that's able to hold blocks, not hold because,
Right.
holding.
Yeah.
But
The only time
you've got to be able to at least stay on blocks. You've got to be able to block effectively. And you've got to have a running back who can carry the brunt of the load, which I think that EJ can. Like, he looked really good in the latter half of the season.
Who's the kid we got from Oregon?
Dante Dowdle.
Dante Dowdell.
Yeah.
He was an insane 5-star recruit coming out of high school. I mean, he had like 42 Power 5 offers. It was insane. He chose Oregon.
Is he a
4-down back?
Is he a 3-down back?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The Oregon fans that I've interacted with, they
3-down back.
They liked him a lot. Like they want us to use him properly. They're like, don't mess him up.
He reminds me a lot of the way that he runs. Reminds me a lot of oh God, why am I blanking on his name? Roy Halou.
Nice.
He's quick. He can hit the hole.
Yeah.
And he can get upfield. I don't think that he's as shifty as Amir was, and I don't think that he does the thing where he can bounce off.
He's pretty good size, isn't he?
I think he's like 5'11", 220, somewhere around there. Let me look.
I thought he was in the 220 area.
Where is transfers? He is okay. Yeah, he's 6. Okay, I was wrong on the height. He's 6'2", 215.
Okay,
Jesus.
So he's a big boy.
So do you guys like running back up by committee, or do you want to kind of see one running back? Maybe
bell
with
cow.
a sub. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, bell cow.
I think that honestly, the way that Wisconsin did it in like the Jonathan Taylor,
Bonnie
James
Ball.
White days, where you have a 1-2 punch. You've got your Thunder and you got your Lightning. Somebody who can go in for a couple downs where you're a short yardage situation. You need 5 yards and you're going to get it. And then you've got your workhorse running back who's going to carry the brunt of the load, who's going to run 40 times a game. That's what I want to see us do. I want us to see us have a short yard big back, and I want to see us have a workhorse back who can carry it 30 to 40 times a game, because that's what we need to do. If we can block effectively and we can run effectively, we will win games. Period. End of story.
Yeah, that's the key to success. Keep the ball, run the ball. But you have those? Can't fumble.
Do we have those running backs in here right now?
I mean, between Dowdell, EJ, Gabe Irvin, Ramir's out. Or is Ramir back? Does he somehow?
Ramir's back.
Ramir came back. He got approved.
Got that medical one. Yep. So I mean, those 4 right there are decent. And then God, I'm blanking on the other one.
I got the whatchamacallit pulled up right now. Okay, so we got Gabe Irvin, Emmett Johnson, Quentin Ives.
Quentin Ives, the other one.
Johnson, Dante Dowdell.
And the coaches really like that Quentin Ives, right?
Yeah,
like they talk pretty highly. They talk pretty highly of him.
I got to watch him when he was in high school. I got to watch him run. Dude, he's quick.
Where'd he go to high school at?
New Jersey, somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
But I don't know where in New Jersey.
I'm trying to look, see if I can find his high school.
It's not like I know a fucking high school in New Jersey.
He's from Beverly, New Jersey, and then he redshirted because he got hurt. Palmyra High School is where he went to, and
so he didn't play.
What's up?
He didn't play a single down last year.
I think he played like 2.
So
he made his debut against Northwestern, but didn't have a carry, and then he lined up his kick returner against Maryland and got hurt on a return. Oh no, sorry, he got hurt he had a 23-yard kickoff return against Wisconsin, and he got hurt.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So we have 5 backs. We have 5 running backs.
Yeah, I think the room's good. Is there really a position group that you guys are nervous about?
This is gonna be fun. Quarterback.
No, I actually agree.
I think because you don't have a lot of depth there,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of depth, and you don't have a lot of experience depth.
I think who's the only other quarterback that's like on the roster that's not named Dylan Raiola?
Harburg and Daniel Kalen.
Danny, and he's a freshman too. You know,
did Harburg stay? I thought he transferred.
No,
he stayed.
Chubba left.
I knew Chubba left, and he's going to
Harburg's
San
still
Jose
here.
State or something.
Sims left, hit the portal, but he's not on the team.
Okay, so we've got so funny. We've got Dylan, Danny Kalen, Harburg, Jack Wokey. Don't know who that is. Luke.
He's from Texas.
That's that Texas guy.
Yeah.
And then
Sean's like, fuck it, he's from Texas. He's good.
Throw him in there.
Somebody named Bode Sukup from Blair.
Oh, I remember Bodie. Is it Bodie or Bode?
It might be Bodie, I suppose. It's spelled Bode.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so that one makes sense. Any others?
Nope, that's literally it. We have 5 quarterbacks on the roster.
You guys aren't nervous about the wide receiver group at all?
We brought in. I think with what you developed last year, I mean, you had to throw some guys in the fire last year, and I think they did okay. I mean,
yeah, they did fine. I thought they did fine.
And then you brought in some other talent too.
I think
you're good.
I think that's the key thing with wide receiver in particular is that we had 4 freshmen playing last year, and every single one of them had some sort of impact.
Yeah,
and I think that's massive because
I think Lloyd will be huge this year. Honestly,
the first 3 games
Wake
of the
Forest
season,
kid.
Yeah, that Wake Forest kid, the Jameer Banks.
Yeah.
The first 3 games of the season, I was not a fan of the way that Garrett developed the guys in the offseason. I thought they couldn't fucking block. We had hardly any perimeter blocking whatsoever, which sucked because I think that if there was one highlight that I could point to of Frost's entire tenure, it's that our perimeter blocking was good. That was it. But I was very unimpressed until we got to that, was it the 4th or 5th game of the season that we played Northwestern when Jalen Lloyd and Jaden Doth both had an 80-plus yard touchdown. That's insane.
Yeah.
And I think that those younger guys really started to come into their own. And I think we got better receivers on this recruiting class than we had last year.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
As long as we don't have a 5'10" wide receiver going off the edge trying to make blocks and getting crushed like Billy Kemp. He tried his best, bro. Every time I saw him, he's getting destroyed. And I'm just like, no, this is Big Ten football, not ACC football. You can't do that.
No.
And the hype was big for him, too.
Well, I feel like we didn't.
He did well. He did okay.
What do you guys feel?
Some of that I feel like is quarterback issue, though, right? You know what I mean? You're not getting, because he's cutting across the middle. He's doing a slot, right? He's cutting across the middle and stuff, but you just weren't hitting him because he was open a lot.
What do you guys feel about IGC coming back for a 4th year? Because, he played 2 years at Arizona State and then transferred here and then hasn't done shit in 3 years.
Well, he's been injured every year.
Well, yeah, he has been injured. I think that the last time that we saw him have a potent game was against Northwestern when we played him in Ireland 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think you were correct there.
I think he's going to get buried on the depth chart this year. Honestly, I do. I think he can. It depends on where he's at mentally, I guess. Can he come out and own it and be a leader because you're one of the older guys there and you have probably the most experience, or are you going to let guys step all over you? I just don't know where he's at as a leader.
So
is he gonna go Tommy Hill style? Can he go in and be a Tommy Hill and come in and start taking over that room, or do you step aside?
Here's all the wide receivers that we have on the roster, and like I said, about 4 of them had some sort of impact last year. Demetrius Bell, he didn't play because he was hurt. Elliott Brown, he's not really playing. He kind of stepped into that green cap role. Alex Bullock, which he had a decent season last year, which was hilarious because he's a walk-on. Got put on
white walk-ons, Sean's favorite.
Jaden Doss, Jalen Lloyd, Malachi Coleman, Tavion Thompson, Cooper Hausman, IGC, and Roman Mangini. I don't know who that is. And then coming in, we've got Ja'Cory Barney, which I'm already a big fan of his. Quinn Clark, who is just, I mean, he's an absolute fucking giant. I mean, he towers above the rest of the guys. He's 6'6", and he's
Mo Pure.
17 years old.
That's Mo Pure Jr.
Davon Hall, Isaiah McMorris, Keelan Smith, who I'm also really excited for, Isaiah Nair, and Jamal Banks.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I think we're fine. I think we see an uptick in how our production goes from there. I think we are solid guys and not just small dudes. We're getting tall, fast, quick, big hands. Know how to box out, move, track guys.
Well, I say, isn't Coleman? Hey, Coleman's running track, and he's like 6'5", isn't he?
Exactly.
Coleman,
Lloyd.
I don't know how tall he is, but the guys that are running track right now are Jalen Lloyd and Jaden Doss, Malachi Coleman, and
Jeremiah Charles.
Yeah, Jeremiah Charles.
Yeah. DB, right?
Yeah, he is DB. I think that Jalen Lloyd just I think he just came away with some hardware, if I'm not mistaken,
right,
at a Big Ten thing.
Like he was long jump, I think.
Was it long jump or was it?
I thought Charles was up there for something too.
Jeremiah Charles, I remember he had something for the. I don't remember if it was the 100 or the 200.
Yeah.
Whoops, didn't mean to do that. That's fine.
But you saw Jalen Lloyd. He knew how to get behind defense. Did once I saw him twice. The only games that I really got to see Iowa and Wisconsin. He got right behind the defenders, and Chuba connected with them. So, I mean, he's.
Like I said, I think Coleman's like 6'5", and then you said that other kid's 6'6", and you got Fedoni that's 6'5". I mean, when you're in the red zone, how are we not just throwing bombs into the end zone for like 50-50 balls?
I think that comes with what?
Quarterback.
Sorry,
you got to get down there first.
No, I think that part of the reason behind that is because we had a not great quarterbacking last year. I mean, I will say the one thing as a whole from last season that I'm just going to say pissed me the fuck off was our decision making in the red zone was extremely subpar.
Yep.
And I think that it was just like the last 2 years under Frost, we could get to the red zone. We had like a 72% offensive efficiency when we were making it to the red zone, but then we had like a 26% scoring percentage. That's fucking awful.
Yep. It is.
And I think that I don't necessarily think that we need to be throwing 50-50 balls. I think that those will work in like certain situations, like against defenses that don't have strong secondaries, Colorado. But I think that with a strong run game and run presence, that will open up the backfield naturally, which is where you get those deep balls.
Right. Well, because you're one-on-one.
Exactly. And I think that 90% of those times, just like Trey, he burns that one high safety.
Well, I think the other part of that too is confidence as a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have confidence as a quarterback laying that fucker out there too. So, which is going to be, you already have somebody. I think Daniel Kalen is going to have more confidence than Harburg. You know, like he's got a better arm, been through it, knows what he's doing. You know, you got Harburg where we finally have two guys. Granted, it sucks, they're true freshmen, but we finally have two guys that aren't running backs playing quarterback.
Well, I would assume that they want to redshirt Danny Kalen if they can.
Oh,
that would be my
guess.
Hope
so. Yeah.
So, do you guys think they trot out Raiola in the first game against UTEP?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You think so?
Yep.
I'd almost be willing to bet that it's not Raiola.
So when I did Gen Reds, everyone that question was asked, and I said no. I think it's Harburg just to because it's an easier game. I think they just start Harburg. That doesn't mean I think he finishes the game, but I think they start.
Harburg. I think that my thought is they're gonna put Harburg in the first few drives, and of course Husker Nation's gonna be blowing up Twitter because we have visceral reactions to fucking everything. I think that they trot him out for the first few drives against UTEP, get something going with the run game, and then second half bring in Raiola. Because I think that they're going to allow him to just go play the game, and I think that
Yep.
he's going to put up 50 points, and then I think that's going to solidify him as the starter.
I mean,
The
I think it
only
obviously goes like how good he does in practice. Like if he's
Well,
ready,
yeah, exactly.
obviously if he's not ready, then don't fuck with
But I
him.
mean,
if he's ready, he's day one. Freshmen start all the time now,
Yeah.
more so than they ever have. Like and Dylan Raiola has been with a professional quarterbacks coach since he was like a fucking freshman in high school. You know,
I think he was
like
younger than that.
it's really. I think you are. I mean, I was going light there, but you know what I mean. Like these freshmen are ready to go a
Yep.
lot, and especially these big, top 5 quarterbacks in the nation. I mean, you got your Johnny Manziel's, you got Tim Tebow's. I mean, even for Nebraska, you've had Taylor Martinez started as a freshman. Tommy Armstrong started as a freshman.
Adrian
Martinez. It's not uncommon.
No, I don't think it's uncommon at all.
My question: do you think we have a better team right now if Raiola starts than Adrian Martinez had when he started?
I think that.
Yeah, I do because I think Scott Frost didn't leave the cupboard as bare as Riley did.
No, I think the difference was that that initial recruiting class that Scott got was like really, really good.
Yeah.
That said, we had a lot of guys leave before they even played one game. We had, like half of those guys from Florida transferred before the first game, and then like 2 or 3 of those guys from Calabasas transferred and or got removed from the team, like Keyshawn Johnson Jr. before they even played their first snap. That said, I still think that you had a lot of talent, but I think that Adrian is not in as good of a starting place as Raiola.
Did his thing, and he just couldn't get over the hump. I felt so bad.
Exactly.
I think you have a better offensive line now than you did.
Part of that is the offensive line, and I think that a bigger part of that is the quarterback's coach. I think that Glenn Thomas is.
Oh, you're gonna dog Mario? I'm just kidding,
bro. Mario was dog shit.
Dude, Mario's still your lady, bro.
Yeah, I love the guy though. Seriously, I love.
I think there's nothing wrong with him as a person. I met him a couple times. He's a nice guy, but like,
garbage.
He just was not a good coach.
Yeah,
waste of money, waste of space, and waste of coaching.
Probably a hell of a wingman. You know what I mean?
Oh,
just
definitely.
Not a great
coach.
I
mean, he'll get you laid.
God.
He'll get you laid.
Like K25 was on fire with that.
That dude will roll up. He'll have a glass of whiskey in one hand and a fucking cigar in the other. And he'll be like, listen, you're going to fuck my bro tonight. And they'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No, I'm crazy excited about it. But I'm excited for this. Like, I'm actually.
Is everybody going to the spring game?
I'm going.
Yeah,
man,
I'm going.
I will be in Lincoln. I am very excited. I haven't been back to Omaha in a year and a half, so.
I got stupid fucking kid shit going on, dude.
Oh,
damn!
Fucking college visits and shit. Fucking sucks, dude.
Way to be a dad.
It's fucking miserable.
You do a birthday? No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I came up with this the other day. Like, I was just thinking. I'm sitting back thinking, like, why? Like honestly, like, why do we have? I don't know if you guys have kids, but like, you used to have kids because you had a farm. Right, and you needed help on the farm, or you're a millionaire, right? So you have like a legacy to leave, right? Like I'm neither of those two. Like, why the fuck did I have kids? Like seriously, like all they are is dude. They just cause all sorts of stress and cost a shitload of money. It's like, what are we doing? I mean, I love them, but goddamn, man.
Sean, if you guys have never watched the pod, he is without a doubt father of the year, hands down.
He just basically said he would trade his kids away for Husker tickets.
This is him every episode. So,
yeah, I mean, like, what Husker tickets are we talking about here, right? Like,
do they come with box seats? Yes. See you. Bye. Body auction.
I mean, if I can get a trip paid out to Ohio State, with tickets and like plane tickets and all that shit, yeah, I'm trading one of them off for sure.
Bye, Daddy loves you. Bye.
It's all right. They're almost out of the house anyways. What's a year or two?
But no, it's good. What are we expecting out of the spring game?
Progress.
Progress,
but it's going to be boring as shit, just like last year's.
Last year pissed me off because of like, because because I'm a homer. Everybody wanted to talk shit about all the turnovers, right? It's like, they'll have it fixed. Obviously they didn't. So I really don't want to see that shit in the spring game.
The only thing that I'm hoping for out of the spring game is if we're going to keep it vanilla, at least keep it vanilla to explaining how our offense is going to work, right? Because I think that the one thing that every single coach that we've had for the last 15 years has lacked is an offensive identity. Riley didn't have it. Frost didn't have it. Pelini hardly had it. I mean, his entire offensive identity was give the ball to Amir and or Roy. Like, I think that that's fine, but like, if you don't have good scheming to match, then what the hell's the point? I think the last coach that had a good offensive identity, believe it or not, was Callahan.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people did not like Callahan. Me, I just thought that he took the program in the wrong direction. And I think, well, not necessarily the wrong direction, just a different direction. And I think that because Husker fans are the way they are, everybody was like, no, we can't do that.
The timing of that is what was the worst, because you were just coming off of being great. And I mean,
I was about to say a nationally dominant team.
All-time great. And so to go in such a drastic shift was crazy, right? Because people in general don't like change, right?
No.
Just even in general, people don't like change, let alone small town, rural people who have had something going for decades that has been great. And then you're going to go ask them to change. Not a good reaction.
That's another thing, though, is like in year 3 for Callahan, offense was there. It was he wouldn't fire a buddy. He wouldn't fire his defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And we were putting up 50 points a game, but we were giving up 55.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I do agree with So do you think Nebraska, because I would hope that last year was not anything close to the identity that we're going to be on offense. So we're kind of starting over again this year, it seems like, offensively. So
I think that
how do you establish that? Like, what does it take to establish the identity?
I think you look at more of a pro style when Stillen's there.
I think that Glenn Thomas is going to have a lot more of a say-so. I know that unofficially he's just the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. I think what in reality he's going to be running the pass game while Raiola and what's his fuck? Why can't I think of his name?
Satterfield?
That's the one. I couldn't remember his name. But I think they're going to be the ones actually in charge of the run game. And I don't think that's a bad thing because I've never, from the time that I've watched Satterfield, I don't think he's ever been a bad tight ends coach, really, in the past. I think that he just lacks the very key component of being a quarterback's coach of having the know-how. Because to be a quarterback's coach, you had to have played quarterback. Satterfield didn't.
Yeah, he's an lineman.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I think that with Glenn Thomas, you get that. You get the kind of personnel that you need, or the kind of coach that you need in order to put the personnel in the right places. I think that you have the right quarterbacks coach that's going to be able to coach your quarterbacks to be efficient throwing the ball. And that's going to show them how to make smart reads. And because, I mean, we haven't for years now. I mean, basically ever since Tommy. And I don't think that Armstrong was like the best at decision making, but he knew when the pocket was collapsing, he knew that, I'm not going to throw into fucking double coverage. He was just going to tuck and run.
Yeah.
And that's been a massive issue, is the decision making with our quarterbacks for years. Obviously that starts up front, because if you have a pocket that's collapsing in 2 seconds, then you're not going to be able to get the ball off. But my biggest problem with our quarterbacks last year was that both Harburg and Chubba did this thing where they were eyeing down one guy the entire time as a play was developing. And that makes it exactly. And that makes it entirely too obvious to defenses, because you know what player is going to get the ball. And that's why we had so many fucking picks last year, is because of the fact that we were eyeing down one guy. We weren't making the read, and we weren't making the decisions in order to throw the ball away. I think that Chubba did it like maybe a dozen times in his 4 games starting. Harburg did it maybe half a dozen times in his 6 games starting. Like, we need to be better minded when it comes to the quarterback position. I think that this year we're going to get that.
I agree. I agree, but I also hope, like.
Tom, what do you think?
I think that if you just don't turn the ball over, it doesn't matter how much you progress, just don't fumble. Because every single time I saw them run, we had 26 fumbles or something like that.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get half of them back.
Nope.
So the QB runs aren't going to be there. So you're not going to have to worry about Heinrich fumbling at all. You have to worry about Dylan getting strip sacked. That's really much it. But I'm pretty sure, like what Tedward said, he was scrambling for his life at Buford, so it's pretty good there. If your running backs hold on to the ball, and if you're not eyeing down the receivers and getting picks, if we just cut back on 15 of those turnovers, we're a 7-8 win team. Plain and simple. Because
That's really embarrassing.
When we played Colorado, our quarterback play, Jeff Sims, gave away 3 fumbles just because he just couldn't hold on to the ball. His fault.
Yeah, when you go back and look at that, it's so fucking wild. And they're in the worst times, too.
Exactly. Like, you're about to be in the red zone. You're about to score a fumble. Like, you just had a 64-yard run, and then you fumble the next play. Come on, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think I have ever seen a worse team in terms of turnovers than we were last year. That was abysmal. Isn't even the word for it. That's how bad it was. How do you?
I don't mean to cut you off.
I think we had like 37 turnovers or some shit like that.
Yeah.
We were averaging 3 a game.
When Gus Johnson says he's never seen a team turn over the ball the way we have, we got an issue. Like, how do you not sit these guys down in the locker room and put tape on their hands and make them hold onto a football and be like, you are not letting go of this ever again?
I just feel like they just got yippy because once you start thinking about it, you're like trying so hard not to. You know what I mean? It's almost like a reverse psychology thing where like there's just nothing you can't. I mean, those kids know to hold on to the ball since they're fucking 10 years old. You know what I mean? It's not that they don't know it. Like it's once it happens, it's just one of those that like, oh fuck,
I take prop bets now of how many times we're all over because it's just gonna happen. Like I'm gonna make money off my team's misery. I'm sorry, I'm done with it. Okay, tired of losing money on the shit that I can't be right on. So I'm gonna be right on that.
So we already know what your over-unders are for turnovers for this season.
Are you betting Nebraska wins a tournament game this year?
I'll take that bet, especially if we're in Omaha. I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I hope to God we're in Omaha. That shit.
Yeah, if we're in
I think
Omaha,
right now we're projected to not. They put us in the other one.
They're gonna do whatever they can to not put us in Omaha.
Oh, yeah,
what's the one they put us on the ticket today? What did they say that they projected us to be? What the fuck are the other brackets?
You got Brooklyn. You got
no, it wasn't Brooklyn.
What's Brooklyn?
No, where are the other two?
I saw us in Brooklyn though, facing Clemson on one of them.
I think that was a minute ago though.
We're no longer a bubble team, are we?
No, we're in.
I don't think so. Not with the win last night.
We're in. And I think they should have won the Ohio State game, by the way. They all know that shit too.
Yeah.
So they're not going to penalize us for that.
Well, and that's a tier 1 loss anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we're going to beat Michigan because Michigan.
I can't fathom how some of these other teams, like I went and looked at the ratings today and looking at some of these other teams that are like 18 and 10 and shit. And you look at their wins and losses, and I'm just like, how the fuck are they ranked 14th?
Brand.
Like, yeah, it's stupid.
That's all it is just brands. In basketball, it's brands.
It's dumb.
Football, they have a little bit more, leeway and lean.
But in basketball, you're supposed to reward quality wins, right? And quality losses or whatever, And rather in football, it's just either you won or you lost, right? But
St. Mary's or whatever and played nobody and beat Gonzaga once this whole year and you'll be ranked 12th. It doesn't.
Right.
But you'll beat number 1, number 6, and barely lose number 14 and you're 85. Okay, whatever. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's wild.
I can't do it anymore.
Baseball is the same way though.
But our baseball team's rocking with the cocks out right now. They just swept College Charleston, which I should have gone to that, but I had to work. We're right down the street.
Well, they just came out and they said that Nebraska has the
Best
their
RPI.
RPI, yeah. Their
Best in the
RPI is
RPI,
yeah.
We have the hardest strength of schedule too. We're number
Yeah.
one.
Are we really?
So, yeah.
One that Husker Talk shared it or whatever.
Nice.
Had the number one strength of schedule in the nation, and we're 7-3, right above Clemson, who's 8-1, 7-1.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they got them rolling.
No, it's this. I hate to say it, but could this be the year that the men's athletics finally come around?
Yeah.
Well, how much? So if it does, how much credit is Albert's getting for that?
So
All of it.
going back to the baseball thing, right? Yeah, because I was just looking up. They have us in the Indianapolis against as a 10 seed against
Indy.
Boise State,
Indy.
and
That's
then
it.
in the 2 and the 15 there are Marquette and South Dakota State. I think Boise State is very beatable. I don't think Marquette is.
Yeah, Marquette be tough.
Yeah, we're not on their level yet. They're gonna smoke us if we play them.
No.
But yeah, I'll take Boise State.
How do you not put Nebraska and Creighton in the Omaha bracket?
But it's playing at a
Because they
neutral
don't
site. The
want that
same
to
playing at
happen.
is it?
It's at CHI.
No. But is playing? We're bad on the road, but are we bad at?
We are
neutral?
1-0 on neutral. 1-0, baby.
And that's
But
against.
I guess here's the whole thing, though. The reason they can't, I don't think they can put Creighton in Omaha because
It would be
you
a
can't
It's home
host.
court. Yeah.
Yeah, but we
because
can be
that's
there.
exactly what it would be.
But
We can be there.
They could put us.
Yeah, they can
Fucking-
put us there. They just can't
Fucking
put Creighton
cowards. They won't do it. They know we'll
No, they
take
won't do
over.
there. We would have to be an 8 or a 9 seed in
Because
order to make
isn't the
Omaha.
second round of the Omaha one go to Wichita?
Yeah, no. They play the winner of Salt Lake and Brooklyn.
No, I just meant the location.
Oh, no, sorry. I think you're
I
right.
think-
Yeah.
It's in Kansas, right? So it's still relatively close for us to drive down and take over.
Yeah. So it's the Eastern region is Brooklyn, Omaha, Salt Lake, and Charlotte. I'm trying to look at where the second round.
I think it's Wichita. I remember Kansas, and where the fuck else would it be besides Kansas City or Wichita?
You'd have to win 2 to get there, right?
Oh no, it's not in Wichita. They're not playing
No?
in Wichita this year. It's the first and second rounds are in Brooklyn, Charlotte, Indianapolis, Omaha, Pittsburgh, Salt Lake City, Spokane, and Memphis. And then the regional rounds are Boston, Dallas, Detroit, Los Angeles, and then the final four is in Phoenix.
So you would hope for Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to hope for Dallas or Indianapolis.
But look at us thinking we're gonna get that far when we haven't won a game.
Hey,
I would be
I
happy
think,
with a
get
team
there.
I
that-
think we're going to. I think we get bounced in the Sweet 16.
If we go to the Sweet 16, I'm
God,
talking
making it to the Sweet 16 as a Nebraska team. I mean, we're just a bunch of scrappy punks.
I'm gonna be.
I think we can do it.
Fred Hoiberg's getting a raise.
These
Fred
motherfuckers.
Hoiberg's getting a fucking statue if we win a
Fred?
single game.
Fred
I'm
should be coach of the year, and that's not bias. I think he should be coach of the year for the Big Ten. But
You think he's
also,
going to be Big Ten Coach of the Year over what's his face?
I think he should.
Purdue's
be.
head coach.
I think he
Man,
should.
we
Fuck,
beat Purdue.
we beat Purdue.
Yeah,
Fuck
but
yeah.
Purdue's number one in the
He has a
conference.
seven-
We are projected to be 12th, and we're going to finish 3rd or 4th.
That's fair.
They were
Right.
projected to win it.
and they've lost to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, getting a double bye in the Big Ten tournament should give fucking
Coach.
Freddie a fucking raise.
But if we here's the reason why is because we've played these other Big Ten teams multiple times, right? So they know what to expect out of Casey, Wilcher, and all of our, Alex, some of our our guys, right? These guys that we're gonna go play, they're not used to playing us. We'll be catching them off guard. I think we can get 2 wins.
I think that
We can do it.
we need to figure out our perimeter shooting because,
Yeah.
when we're playing from behind and we're trying to catch up, we're just shooting perimeter threes.
Shit,
And I
it's
don't
frustrating
understand
to
why.
watch it.
I know it's extreme. We just continuously fucking shoot threes, and there's no
Bad
reason
shots.
for it.
They're bad shots too. They're not like
Oh, exactly.
good setup shots.
No,
Yeah, that's ugh.
it's just us playing from behind trying to catch up.
I like it though. They just don't care. They're just shooting just to shoot. Shoot or shoot. Let it rain.
Shoot or shoot.
They just shoot, bro. They don't care. They're like, fuck it. We're down 30, shooting threes all day.
Let it rain.
Yeah.
I love it.
Bro, we don't have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry on the team. We can't just be shooting threes just because.
Hey, when I see 6'6" Rink Mass, who's literally looks
Right?
he looks like a Nordic god just shooting stuff.
Dude looks like a boat.
He hits it, and I'm like, okay, that's a weird shot. How did you let him get that? And then Casey hits one, and then CJ hits one, and then Jawan Gary hits one. I'm like, what team is this? What am I watching? I don't understand what basketball I'm watching.
Yeah, where the fuck did this come from?
like really, because I'm so used to us losing in basketball where I'm like, if we beat somebody, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But now I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, he misses that shot. So I get spoiled really quick, and I hate my life. Like, I don't know what I do with my sport team. I get so attached.
Let me hit you guys with one parting shot here for the road. So our last podcast we did, Sean wasn't on, is me, Jaden, and Aaron. We were talking about NFL stuff and upcoming combine. We're like, pick a combine sleeper. I went with Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey has surprisingly good combine. What are your guys' thoughts on that and how you project him in the NFL as a wide receiver?
It's almost as if that could have been seen from 1.5 miles of fucking way. Dude was never set to play quarterback, and he tried to force his hand at quarterback. And
didn't we want him to play wide receiver in Nebraska?
Yeah, that's why it's funny.
Frost sat down with him like multiple times. Like, listen, you're a better fit at wide receiver, and he's like, no, I want to play quarterback, being a stubborn fuck. And of course, his older brother is being bitches on Twitter. Oh, our brother deserves a shot.
I forgave CMC the minute he went to the Niners. So,
God,
all forgiven, no matter what you said about us. All forgiven. No, I mean,
he'll probably get drafted just because of his name and who he is. If he has a decent combine, you know,
he had a good combine. He had a really good combine
between dad and brother and shit. Like, he's gonna get.
He's
gonna get a shot.
It's a fraternity. He's gonna get drafted.
Yeah.
Like when it's like Deuce Vaughn getting drafted by his dad from the Cowboys. It's just the name. If your son is coming into the draft, he might not be, first, second, third, fourth, fifth round. He might be a late 6th, early 7th rounder. He's gonna get picked up.
Jesus Christ! Did the Niners go draft McCaffrey and Brendan Rice?
I don't think that he goes that late. I think that he's like a 3rd round pick purely because of the name and the fact that he had a good combine. His stats at Rice weren't anything impressive, but I mean, they know who he is. He's fast. He's 6'4". Okay. He's got a good frame. He knows how to
they can use it for a gadget play to throw the ball every once in a while.
I mean, he's like, to me, he's a very Trey Palmer style player. Not that he's that fast. I don't know if he's as fast as Trey was, but he's somebody who can get behind a secondary and catch a ball.
But Trey went 6th round, though. If he's like Trey Palmer, he's going to go 6th round then. Trey Palmer was 6th round.
Was Trey a 6th round? I thought he was like a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, but Trey's not a McCaffrey.
No, Trey wasn't that early.
No, Trey is not a McCaffrey.
No, I think Trey was 5th
after John Mathis in the 6th round.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really pay attention to the NFL draft. I'm not a big NFL person.
Right. As long as we get somebody in, I don't care where it goes. Just
my team has been shit for 4 years now, so 5 years now.
Who's your team?
There? How many people from? How many?
The Deflatriots.
Huskers to get drafted.
None. I don't think anybody. You don't think? I don't think we have a draft this year. I don't think we have a draft pick this year. I don't think we have good enough players in the draft this year.
If JoJo Doman didn't get drafted, Luke won't get drafted.
Yeah, JoJo, I think that was ridiculous. JoJo
if there was going to be a player who was going to get drafted but decided to stay at Nebraska, it would have been Isaac, because Isaac has a build for an NFL. Like, he is a very Levante David-esque player. And I think that he has the consistency. He has the speed. He knows how to drop back into coverage. He plays that nickel position really well. I'm glad that he stayed. I think that the 6th year is only going to do good for him. And I think that if our defense is everything that we hope it's going to be this year, I think that Luke could be, or Luke.
I think if Ben Hart would have went out, he would have got drafted.
Yeah. But no, I think that Isaac, if our defense is as good as we think it's going to be, I think that Isaac is like a 2nd round pick next year.
Bold
Ooh,
prediction.
that's bold. That's fucking bold.
If he has a ball
I
in
said
you,
that he was going to be a second team All Big Ten this year, and he ended up a third teamer. So
I like it. We'll have to have you on for our preseason predictions.
that'll be
I
fun.
don't do preseason predictions because every time I do, I'm wrong.
Good. We'll know what to not expect.
Oh no, sorry, out there. I'm almost done.
So, all right, you guys got any parting shots before we get out of here?
Nebraska is not scared of any Big 12 teams. Just let you know that. Parting shots. I set Twitter ablaze today with owning frauds, and it was mostly Big 12 teams. So I'm not scared of Big 12 teams.
Big 12 now or Big 12 last year?
Any of them.
Okay.
Don't care.
Fair.
Oh, by the way, you guys put your shout out your guys' Twitter handle real quick. So
Teddy,
people
go
can
first.
find you.
I am at Husker Tedward on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram and YouTube as well.
Husker Tom 1994. I don't do Instagram, so I'm ugly, so that's why I don't do it.
Yeah, I don't do Instagram either.
Well, look at Sean. He still puts his face on
I
camera.
don't put my shit out on Instagram. Insta sucks.
Just YouTube.
It's just a bunch of
Yeah.
That's all it is now.
Sean looks
Yeah,
like he's about to get arrested. All right, boys. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on. We'll have some more stuff coming up. Definitely around springtime. Recapping practices, all the little rumors, ins and outs that we hear, and then especially after the game. So we'll be in touch. We'll do this again.
Sick, dude.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. See you in your
Hey,
group
thanks,
chat.
guys.
We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Go Big Red.
Go Big
Go
Red.
Big Red.
Go Big Red.